Welcome to the topic where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm your host today. My name is Parrish Murphy. You know, a healthy and safe water system is essential to life, especially in a city as populous as Houston. HCC has a program to train students to keep that water flowing. We're joined by Andrew Johnson III, Director of Industrial Technology and Energy, for an overview of our HCC program. Good morning, Mr. Johnson, or I should say good day to you, Mr. Johnson. How you doing?
Very well. Thank you, Parrish. Happy to be here.
Good. Great to have you. Now, I learned something, we're having a TV job for the last 30 years. Anytime that we get hit by a flood or anytime we get hit by a hurricane, the very first thing that we do is we check the water supply and we make sure that the water supply is good. Obviously, it's significant. I'm wondering, could you give us an overview of the importance of water and wastewater and give us a little overview of your program?
Absolutely. Great question. Great insight. The good thing is we have an expert joining us, Dr. Pierson, who can give you a more in-depth explanation. But we're happy here at the college to have heard the call and to have answered that call. Water is one of those industries that is recession-proof. Water still has to flow. Water is one of those industries that is obviously global pandemic-proof. You didn't hear about a shortage of water. So the college is happy to be at the forefront of offering this type of much needed training for the industry. We have this training available throughout every campus location within our footprint, and we offer the testing as well at every location throughout the city, South, Central, and North Houston.
That is absolutely awesome. Now, I'm curious, can you tell me a little bit about the program? And I guess it's always been there, but you never think about water as an actual industry.
Very true. As a welder by trade myself, I knew nothing about the water industry. Had anyone shared with me that water was actually a skill craft trade, I probably would have never struck an art as a welder. But we're happy to have this within our library of offerings. The Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, TCEQ, they're the governing body for us here in Texas. The great thing about our program is we're accredited by that governing body, and our licensors, our students, when they receive a license, that license is transportable just like the education. So HCC has the ability to deliver training on campus or at a client's location, at a civic location, in a church, at a kitchen table if it's big enough and we can have enough students present.
That's great. Now, what kind of accreditation do workers need in this particular industry, and how does HCC help them get that?
Great. You will end up with a Class D license at the entry-level position. And that's the other beautiful thing about water as a skill craft trade. You have levels of ascension into higher pay that are built into the industry. So you enter the industry as a Class D operator. We offer that training here at Houston Community College. We offer Class D license training for water and Class D license training for wastewater. We are also the exam location. From there, Class D, there's Class C, Class B, and Class A, of which Dr. Pierson is.
Okay, great. Now, each level, you've told me about a couple of different levels, ABC, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. You know, what are the distinctions between those particular levels?
Good question. So, one, there are two different licenses. You have a water license, which takes water out of the ecosystem and it prepares it for consumption, so for human use. And then you have water. So the water cycle includes wastewater. After you use your water in your home, it enters a waste zone. We take that wastewater and process it so that it can be reintroduced back into the ecosystem, from the ecosystem into your homes.
Wow, that's crazy. That's interesting to go from wastewater to drinking water. That's an important process. Just to even think about that. So we have a diverse population in Houston, obviously. How is this program set up to respond to that?
Outstanding. We intentionally set this up so that we offer wastewater training in English and Spanish. We have to pay attention to the fact that 40% of our workforce, our demographics, speaks Spanish as a second language, sometimes the first language. We can't ignore that. So every training opportunity that we offer through the Industrial Technology and Energy Department, we make an intentional effort to offer that training in Spanish as well as English whenever available.
That's great. Now, how can students pay for the program? Is financial aid available for this as well as any other course?
Another area of pride for us. Unfortunately, we are a continuing education department where we issue certificates. So typical or traditional financial aid is not available. However, because we live in the great state of Texas, Texas offers training assistance for those that qualify. So TPEG funding is available for those students interested in taking our wastewater training, and we're proud of that.
That's great. Now, obviously, this is another great program that HCC offers. And I don't want to say hidden gem because that's starting to annoy me. I think that we need to, if you have good jewelry, you have to show it, right? So this is obviously another outstanding program. I'm wondering, how do you help place students in jobs in this particular industry once they're done?
I agree with you on that hidden jewel, and I'm going to take this opportunity at a shameless plug. We are leading the community college network in the area on wastewater training. What we've also done, we've built partnerships, a rapport with the city of Houston. We've built partnerships with the city of Katy. We've had some of the largest private industry companies come in and speak with our students. You'll speak with Taylor later on. Taylor is one of those students where he had the opportunity to meet with the president of one of the largest wastewater producers in the city of Houston. And we've built pipelines into apprenticeships as well through WHEAT. So we're excited about leading the way. We plan on being out front as long as we possibly can, but we're also here to share the information.
That is absolutely awesome. His name is Andrew Johnson III. He is Director of Industrial Technology and Energy. Thanks for educating and informing us, sir. And you know what? Let's talk again, because I like to know, what you guys are doing in the future as far as programs and things of that nature. Please, come back on the show when you get an opportunity.
I will. Thanks for the invitation. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you, sir. And when we come back, we'll get a close-up view of the program from an actual instructor. Stay tuned.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
For more than a year, we have kept you informed with more than 500 remote episodes. But now we're back, bigger and better, with more news and more guests. Join us live every weekday at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and on HCC TV at noon and 5 p.m. You can watch from anywhere. We go where you go.
Welcome back to the topic. We are looking at HCC's wastewater program today. We're joined by Adjunct Instructor Brandum Pierson. Brandum, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show with us. Being an instructor, in the water and wastewater program. Tell us a little how you came into even teaching this. I didn't even know this was a thing. How did you come into teaching it?
Well, thank you for asking. And one thing I tell my students is wastewater and water isn't advertised like a lot of jobs. Most people who turn on the television will see advertisement for different jobs and different services, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of advertisement in the water and wastewater industry. Myself, I've always been interested in, helping the community, educating people, and I saw opportunity to fulfill something that I wanted to do, which is teach wastewater courses to the general public through HCC. I was able to fulfill that opportunity. So it was just something that just happened to, come into fruition for myself and for the people that lead the program at Houston Community College.
Wow. Now, you hold a wastewater treatment license and you also have a doctorate. Tell me a little about, I didn't even know that they had doctorates in that. Tell me how that happened.
Yes, sir. So early in my career, when I was still scratching my head, trying to kind of figure out what the smell was and how much money I'd make, I talked to one of my supervisors, and he was telling me that specifically for where we were working at, if I wanted to, expand my career outside of, kind of turning valves and moving chains, I would probably want to get a, education. And pretty much goes hand in hand with the water industry because it addresses society, the community, and the environment from a broad scope. So I had, focused my career on wastewater, being that it was a steady career with good benefits and pay, but also focused on, pursuing an education in environmental science, so I could, go further in my career. So I continued the process, and during the time, I began educating, working in higher education, and just so happened to feel that there was opportunity for me to do research on vocational education and the gaps between vocational education and education in the wastewater industry. So I guess you could say my doctorate research was over the gaps that's between education in the school system and education in the wastewater industry. So I just so happened to, find that there was opportunity to fulfill that gap in the future. So education and prioritizing the wastewater industry pretty much led me to my achievements, and it's something that I'm still pushing forward.
Great. So being in the industry, did that experience going back to school influence basically how you structure your classes?
It does help me structure my classes. The influence of having an education and working definitely was more effective because a lot of people, they go to school, they have families, and they're working. So I understand that a lot of people, they read the capacity to take on more than what they would like to. So it did impact my delivery and the learning environment as well that I try to create.
But it's also great to have an instructor that has a practical application in actually what they're teaching, because you come from experience, and I think sometimes more is caught than taught. And I just think that's a very valuable asset to have, being in the business, of wastewater. I have another question though. What advice do you have for returning students? I understand that there are different levels of wastewater accreditation. Can you talk to me about the advice for returning students that come to try to get a higher level of accreditation?
Yeah, and thank you for asking. I think that returning students should really focus on the end goal, prioritize it, and then also attempt to achieve it. because there's always going to be opportunities available in other areas while they're going along that path. And, some of those opportunities may be fruitful, but I think it's more advantageous to stay the course and really find out the opportunities available in the water and wastewater sector. Such as Andrew said, there's limited to no layoffs. It's a steady career. And then it's also more than just working within the facility. People in the wastewater are also engineers, or project managers, contractors, third-party vendors, educators. Some may work in a lab, maybe a consultant, technical writing, managers. There's many opportunities. But whatever that a person wants to apply in a real-world scenario after school, I believe that in some aspect they can apply it in the wastewater industry. So it's really, kind of learning the industry and taking advantage of the opportunities available. So I feel like that a person should really, kind of look for achieving a milestone and really kind of look forward to achieving that milestone as well.
Occupationally, it seems very diverse. It seems like a very diverse field. What kind of money can you make doing this, dealing with wastewater? Does it depend on what you're doing in that, in that particular field? Does it depend on if you're an engineer or if you're working in another capacity? Just what kind of money can you make?
That's a good question. I think it's very tentative. And the reason I say that is because it would depend on the region that you're in. For example, you may work in a smaller region that pays a certain amount, or you may work in a larger region that pays a larger amount. And vice versa, you may work in a smaller region where there's a high demand for workers, whereas in a larger area, there's not a lot of turnover, steady employment, so there's not a lot of opportunities for earning a competitive wage. So it's very tentative. One thing is people, they can kind of compare the salaries in the wastewater and water industry to other competitive wages, starting salaries and then the salaries that top off as well too. And one more thing, like these different, I guess you could say these different roles, such as maybe an engineer or a lab technician, or maybe a manager or somebody that works within the wastewater or the water industry, they're getting paid a competitive wage, but they're getting paid a competitive wage based on whatever sector they're in. So engineer may work in the construction sector, but help in the wastewater industry primarily, or it may be a lab technician that works outside of a facility, but primarily tests and sample wastewater. So it's very tentative and kind of contingent upon where you're at. But as of like operators and people that work in the facility, a lot of those wages are very competitive. And one reason why is because of the high demand for labor.
Good. Listen, thank you so much for joining us, Brandum. His name is Brandum Pierson. He is one of our wonderful professors here that teach at HCC's Water and Wastewater program. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And when we return, we'll get a student perspective on the water and wastewater program here at HCC. Stay tuned.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Welcome back to the topic. We are looking at HCC's water and wastewater program today. We're joined by Taylor Escamilla. Did I say that right? Or did I butcher it? That's my superpower. He's a student in the program. Taylor, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. How are you?
So I'm just wondering, how did you decide to enter this program, Taylor? Because I'll be honest with you, I understood working in network news, when we go through hurricanes, I understood the importance of water because that was the first thing that everybody wanted to make sure that all of the judges and all of the powers that be, the city powers that be, their first thing was making sure that our water supply was great. So I didn't even understand that there was an industry for it. And when I found out that HCC actually had a water and wastewater program, I was like, wow, that's a thing. How did you learn about it and what made you get into the program?
So I just recently got out of the United States Marine Corps, where I worked as an 1171, which is a water support technician. I wanted my experience and my skills from whenever I was in to transfer into some sort of civilian job. And I really didn't know where to start. But I started trying to attend college at Houston Community College. And while I was on their website, I seen a advertisement for these basic waterworks and basic wastewater operations classes. And immediately I just decided to sign up for it because I was very curious and I wanted, like I said, to continue my career path in water treatment.
Wow. And I didn't even know. That's awesome. Now, what has
I'm sorry, I did not hear you. Could you say that one more time?
No, what's the program been like since you've been in it?
So this program has been very beneficial to me. For me, terminology was very big. While I was in that, we used a lot of different acronyms and stuff like that to describe different equipment and procedures. So I understood how the process worked, but I wasn't on par with the treatment operators that were out there in the civilian world. At first I was nervous, but as the class went on, the instructors thoroughly answered more of my questions and I became more familiar and confident with the terminology. But yeah, besides that, the instructors did a very good job explaining the treatment processes and the responsibilities of what a job in the water treatment would entail.
What elements have been most helpful to you in your learning process?
So some of the elements that have been, better to me would be the instructors. That'd be a major element because if you don't have a good teacher, then you're not going to learn very much. Now, I took both of the basic waterworks and the wastewater certification, the classes. And since I had such great instructors that explained everything, how everything was done, the different laws behind the water treatment process, I actually went and I tested out on my first time for both of them and passed them both. So now I'm certified in Class D for both wastewater and water treatment operations.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So I've learned today from everybody that, there are different stages and different certifications. How far do you want to go with this? Do you want to get all the certifications or how many more do you have to go?
Yes. So right now I'm at the very bottom, which is still a very big jump start because I do plan on having a career in this field. And those certifications allowed me to get my foot in the door. Now, I want to continue to further myself with these licenses. I want to be AA certified, which is the highest class certification that you can get in the water treatment fields. It goes the D certification, C, B, and A for both wastewater and water treatment. So I would like to attend a university and keep earning my way up the ladder until I'm AA certified.
Okay. Now, what do you see yourself doing as a career once you get your certifications? Is there any particular thing that you have your eye on that you want to do right now?
Not as of right. Well, A little bit. I'm still kind of figuring out where to go, but this is giving me a direction to move in. With those certifications, if you work your way up through it, you also have to attend college courses to be able to get AA certified. And from that, what interests me is becoming a civil engineer for water treatment processes for neighborhoods and industrial buildings and stuff like that.
And how did your military experience help you as far as, as far as preparing you to get your certifications?
Well, first, it gave me the discipline to be able to go to those classes, but also it laid the framework for me to be able to continue going in the direction of water treatment. Like I said before, I worked with water. I worked with wastewater. We just didn't call it water treatment and wastewater. We just called the entire process purification. So I understand how the water works. I understand where the water's going. And that kind of helped me whenever I was taking these classes have a better handle and better grasp on things.
I'm still amazed at the process from toilet water to drinking water. So I can imagine that there's a great science that comes with that. Now, as far as future goals, do you think that this is something that you can create a job out of, with all of your certifications?
Yes, I believe so.
Because I kind of think that's the evolution of what college needs to do. Back when I was when Jesus was in school, they taught us the premise of college was to teach us how to get a job, right? They would teach us the logistics of it. They would give us an academic format for it. But now I think, college has turned into such big business. I think that it has to evolve as well. It needs to not only teach, but it needs to teach you guys how to create jobs as well.
Correct. The U.S. is growing very much so over these past couple of years. It will continue to grow, as time moves on. And from that, there is plenty of opportunity for you to start or create your own business. So in the future, I do plan on trying to do something like that. But for now, I need to focus on moving my way up the ladder.
That's good. Now, before we get out of here, what advice do you have for students considering this program?
So I would say don't consider it, just do it. It is 5 days of your time. It's a great skill to have on your resume. And like I said before, jumpstart your career. Right now in the U.S., as the men before me said, there's a shortage of workers in the industry and they're actively looking for people to hire. There's many benefits to taking this course and I would highly recommend it. I wouldn't sit on it. I would just do it.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you. His name is Taylor Escamilla, and he is a student in the water and wastewater program at HCC. Thank you for joining us so much, Taylor, and good luck to you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us here on The Topic. For more information on HCC's water and wastewater program, visit hccs.edu/podcast. That's hccs.edu/podcast. I know you have other alternatives in your viewing pleasure. We are truly honored that you chose us here at The Topic. For all the great people here and the people that helped put this show together and here on HCC TV, I'm Parrish Murphy. Take care.